26 years. There's a lady who had a story. She killed her son, ended up himself. She hid him in a trash can and got food stamps and got 2 years. 2 years. Okay? There's this other dude that took his child, shot the child, threw the child in the backyard because of the fact they couldn't find the kid. They didn't have the evidence that they didn't, but they had it in camera or whatever. He got away free with probation. This man cooperated with you. He spoke to you. You gave him 26 years. It took 26 years, and the cops knew it wasn't. He didn't do it. And who's the jury? I want to fight all of y'all. Oh my. Hi guys, welcome to my life, my world, my everything. Welcome to Tasha React. Welcome to Tasha React. How have we been doing? Well, we're doing good in the hood, alright? So I'm going to have a quick little story time. This story time is actually one of my friends, Spice Life TV. Please check her out, alright? So we're going to react to this story. I always do the person's information here and here. If the person comes up to me and say, hey girl, I don't want you sharing my video, I will take it down because I don't care. But I already asked her, so yeah, but I have to give that disclaimer for everybody, okay? So let's go.
You went all the partying and all that stuff you weren't supposed to do. I kept it.
First of all, I always do what I was supposed to do. Folks got to go to parties because I was going, because I was that girl.
Oh my God.
If Candace is going, you know she about to be good. Because the thing is, I was too scared to get in trouble. Complete opposite of him. Like, I mean, when I tell you we could not be more opposite, I was so like, Jesus, we need to pray and ask for forgiveness. And he was like, no, we don't.
Yeah, because that's the way it is to this day. It's still like that. And
I'm still like, Lord, come in here, be a part. He'll ask. Okay, so we started hanging out. And he actually ended up moving back home for a little while. Mm-hmm. And I had got a car, so I'm driving around and his car was broken down. Which was cute because that was another story. Like, he got this car that he loved so much and he came over to my house. It was like super late because I think I had to be home at midnight, and he came over at like 11:30 to show me this new car he got, and we went driving around in it. Anyway, it broke down. And so,
you know what I'm laughing at? Because her husband reminds me how my son's father was. Because my son's father was very like laid back and quiet. I was the talker. I would talk. He's like, anyways, anywho, that's it. Yeah, we're both Leos, so her husband's perfect for her because I already can tell he has that calm, chill back personality, but probably can still check her in a way because that's how Leos are. We need a man that can kind of let us know he the man. You know what I'm saying? But you can just tell the way he's looking at her like, She's like, anywho, anyways.
Later, not that day.
Yeah, later. Well, kind of.
No, don't even try it. It wasn't that day.
So later, we were hanging out, and we would hang out after school a lot. I would get off of school and then come over to his house. Well, this one particular day, he kept asking me to skip school. And, like, mind you, I told you, his mom and my mom were best friends. So I was kind of game, but I was like, see, no. The closer it got, I was like, the time I come to skip and pick you up, my mom is going to be there. And how am I going to explain that? Like, she's going to be a...
Spice got my mama. Like, people were like, Tasha, let's skip school. I'm like, where we skipping school to? Like, baby, my mama and my stepfather knows everybody, okay? The whole Haitian community know everybody. They will sit here and be like, I see Tasha. And they will drag you. Okay, they will drag you for your parents. I see Tasha down. I pick her up. I'm going to drop her off right now. Like, what? Like, skipping school, like, it had to be strategic. Like, I see people used to skip school all the time. So, like, yo, I can't skip school because, yo, you know, like, everybody else's parents, like, I don't care. I do care because I still was getting beat. Like, at the age, like, 16, 17, I still was getting hit like I was a little kid. Like, baby, yeah. If y'all know about the Haitian community, y'all already know.
Joe's house. He's like, no, I'll just walk around the corner. They're like trying to get me to skip school. For one, I don't do that. And two, skip and come to y'all's house to pick you up so I could get caught. Not a good plan.
Did I ever get caught? Did I ever get caught for anything I did?
We're getting to that.
Yeah.
So he thought I was gonna skip. I was supposed to leave my school at like right after lunch, 12:30 or something. Come scoop him, and we was just gonna kick it the rest of the day. Well, I got cold feet because I was like, my mom's gonna be there, and I'm not trying to get my car taken. I'm not trying to get in trouble. So I didn't go, and I was waiting all day. I knew he was gonna be mad, and when I got there at 2 something, I knew I was gonna have to be like, you know, like, I'm sorry. I get out of school and I'm nervous because I know I'm gonna have to explain to him why I didn't show up. And sure enough, as soon as I pull up, guess whose car was in the driveway? My mom's. So I'm thinking like, see, this is why I knew she was gonna be there. He ain't gonna get me in trouble. So I walk in the house and I'm like, you know, acting like this is just my first time planning to be there. And I was like, what you doing here? To my mom, she's like, yeah, come in here and sit down. So right when she said that, and I see his mom is upset. And I said, oh crap, they done found out we were supposed to skip. And my mom's like, come sit down, because she about to tell me like, I busted you. And I'm trying to think, like, how would she know that I was gonna skip? Well, then I was like, why is his mom crying like that though? Like, that's weird. So I go in there and we sit down, and my mom's like I came over here today because Ernestine called me and she was really upset, and I was like thinking like, what happened? And your dad was overseas at the time, so I'm thinking, oh crap, something happened to his dad. And I'm just looking around, waiting for him to come out the room. And then he never comes. And so my mom was like, I just have something to tell you. And I was like, okay. She was like, they came and picked him up today. And I was like, who came and picked up who? And his mom is bawling, like, at this moment. So I'm like, came and picked up who for what? And she was like, they came and arrested today. I mean, when I tell you my stomach, like, just thinking about it, my stomach gets hot. Like, I couldn't understand what they were saying.
For some reason, I watched this video, but it's like, because you know, we support each other. Okay, this is 2 years ago, but my body, like, it's like I get goosebumps. Like, every time I hear the story, because I've been through it with her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't physically there. You know, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, I was there for her, but you know, I've been through the story with her, and just like, I don't know, it just feels like, I don't know, like you could picture being there, you know what I'm saying? And you could just look at him, like, even when you look at him and how his demeanor is and how he's just, you can tell it still affects him. Like, it's like, you know, when somebody goes in a daze and they're just thinking about it, like, you can still see it bothers him. Like Candace, you know, I'm not saying her name, Spice is like his rock. Like, you could tell that, like, she, like, without her, it's like he wouldn't be as strong. Because I feel like that's something that, like, when you go to jail, that's a mental thing too. Like, that fucks with you, you know what I'm saying? So
I didn't understand why they were saying it. I didn't know what that even meant. Like, it was just a lot going on in my head. So she tells me that, and of course I instantly start crying because I didn't understand what they were, how they were doing that.
I didn't know anything. I mean, I didn't know about all that. I don't even think anybody relayed those intricate details to me about how you found out and all that. I don't even think you ever told me that. But yeah, so I was at the house earlier that day, and they just came and, you know, basically they came a little deep and they took me away for a crime I didn't commit that day. And I feel like a story started that day. A whole nother story, a whole nother life started that day. But yeah, by the time you got home from school, I was booked in Pierce County Jail.
So that really is where me and him really kind of, I want to say started, but that is a big start place for us. Because, you know, the whole time when we found out, and I found out the story of like what happened and who they said did this and what they're accusing him of, everybody was just like, okay, how did they even pick him? I mean, the story is so ridiculous.
So ridiculous.
The person at the time was saying it wasn't him. Like, they asked if it was people he knew. He was saying no. There was times before that where the company that the incident happened at was on the news asking like if you're an old worker, which he was, could you come down? He voluntarily went down. He knew the guy that was injured, so that was kind of, I think, why you participated in going down there. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
But then, so we kind of knew that going up to it. So for him to be volunteering and stuff, I just thought, okay, he gives information and he'll be on his way, or he'll tell them what they're asking for. And I'm just really naive and still very much like when I tell you, I just believed that America was the best place to live, that God was going to, if I prayed and lived right, everything I wanted was going to happen. That it's not true, so how could not true things happen, like go any further? Like I was so just optimistic and just naively ready for this to be over with, because it didn't make any sense. The night that it all happened, like me and him had talked a few times, so I knew what was going on with him, and there was like, what? How are they gonna say that he did this? So that was kind of where it all started, and the story just like continued and continued. Every time we thought there was gonna be an end, it never ended.
Never. It just kept going.
Through that whole time, like we would go, his family was still pretty involved with his life at the time.
Yeah.
My mom was like, that's her boy. She's trying to be Miss Private Eye investigator on the whole case. Like she was taking that on. Of course, I'm supporting him, trying to understand this whole jail thing. Like never been involved with anything like that. So we're just like, okay, fine. They're gonna keep him in jail for the trial. Once we get to the trial, it'll come out. It'll be fine. He'll come home. I remember them asking him at one point, though, they came, was this before the trial that they came with the plea?
Yes. So while I was waiting for the trial, they came with a plea, and they were like, you sign on dotted line right now for 13 years, and you'll be out in 11 for a good time, and you can take that right now. And it was never my intention to take a plea. However, I didn't want to say no without speaking to somebody that cared about me or whatever, and all those people I couldn't find.
My mom and his mom were out and about.
And that's the crazy thing. That's the crazy thing. Like when you go through the most, like I was locked up for one day, right? And imagine him who was like going through trial, going through everything. I got locked up for one day because, you know, it's a whole story time. I will be having a whole story time, but that was the most loneliest time I ever went through in my life. Like, sometimes I feel like God eliminates you for the greater good, but even at the time, you don't understand why. Like, why am I going through this? Why am I here? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I only did one day, maybe, and I was traumatized. Now, imagine someone like him that is sentenced. You know what I'm saying? And when you're going through stuff, everyone is gone. That's why all the time I would say, if I become successful, I have a list in my notebook who was there for me. Okay? Sensitive wasn't there. Samantha wasn't there. Now that's the names I give as my friends. My closest friends. None of my friends was there. Everybody was locked. The crazy thing is, the people that was the closest to me was strangers from YouTube. My YouTube friends were the people who were there for me. My family that was there for me. My immediate family that was there. Not all. Immediate family that was there for me. I suffered. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, sometimes you don't understand, like, dang. And I mean, I went through a lot, like, to a point that I lost everything I own from this man. And this man, it was all a plan from him, you know, for him to come up on me. You know what I'm saying? So, I understood that part. Because as soon as you go through stuff, it's like, where's all the people? Where's all my friends? Where's all my homies? Everybody gone.
In the streets. This was before cell phones were really a big deal. Like, people didn't just have them. So my his mom was with my mom, and they was out doing whatever they were doing. And I was literally getting out of the shower, and the phone rang, and it was him, and he was telling me, like, they want me to take this plea.
And I was like struggling with it because, like I said, it's like for me to admit to something that I didn't do is something to this day I can't do. Like, and so that would have called for me to say, yes, I committed this crime.
And that happened to a lot of people. I know a lot of people that took plea deals when they didn't do anything. So, like, I know people that are known as, like, predators off of people framing them or making lies about them, and it really didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? And there's other people that witnessed, like, yo, I was here with this person. How did you pick this person? And it was someone else, or it was somebody's family member, or it was the neighbor, just because the person's black. Like, child.
And I did all these A, B, and C's, and I just couldn't do it. It was a struggle. But I also saw everybody around me getting all this time, so I was like, I don't want to be one of these cats. This 11 years ain't too bad.
And I'm like, if you didn't do it, why would you say you did something you didn't do? How could you even consider that? Literally, like, why are we even talking about it?
Candace was she wasn't hip to the system at the time.
No.
I wasn't either, girl. I learned the system low key probably when I was cool with my old best friend. I call him Judas because I held him down. But this is the first time I really kind of understood the system and how they treat people. I didn't understand it even when, like, my ex went through stuff, or my daughter's father went through stuff, and they're talking about the system. I didn't get it. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, yes, you did do it. Why would they put you in jail if you didn't do it? You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand it. I just thought bad people and the police was so wonderful, and the police really cares for you, because every police officer, even when I got locked up, was really nice, except the black one. The black one, when I first got locked up, he was a little mean to me until he noticed that my son's father was really trash, and then the white guy had to hip him about him, and then whatever. But in Rhode Island, whoever calls the cops on you first, you end up going to jail regardless, especially if they claim it's domestic. You know what I'm saying? They had no proof I hit him. They had no proof, whatever, because of the fact that I threw everything. They said it was destruction of property, but the cop, they were talking really bad about him. So even when I got locked up, the cops were really nice to me. I never experienced police brutality. Even I got pulled over, the cops are, you know what I'm saying? I never had that experience. So like, I'm just like her. Like, what? Well, why would they do that? This is America the Great, you know? Like,
not at all.
And the system still looked a certain way to her, and for years it had looked a different way to me, and so I kind of knew what it was going in. But that was me knowing what the system was like was what made me consider that deal. That was the only thing that made me consider it, is I know it doesn't work for us. And so here we go. She gave me the advice that I needed, which was don't do it, because that's where I was leaning anyway, and I didn't do it, and so I go to trial.
And that's a whole cluster.
Yeah, that's a whole other story.
That's a lot. Wait for the documentary.
But long story short, go to the trial. It didn't end in my favor, and I ended up getting sentenced to 26 years. 26 years for...
You know, honestly, I didn't know it was that long. I've been listening to videos, but I didn't know it was 26. I keep hearing, like, I don't know why I thought it was like 18, 19. 26 years. There's a lady who had a story. She killed her son, ended up himself. She hid him in a trash can and got food stamps and got 2 years. 2 years. Okay? There's this other dude that took his child, shot the child, threw the child in the backyard because of the fact they couldn't find the kid. They didn't have the evidence that they didn't, but they had it in camera or whatever. He got away free with probation. This man cooperated with you. He spoke to you. You gave him 26 years. It took 26 years, and the cops knew it wasn't. He didn't do it. And who's the jury? I want to fight all y'all. Why would you do that to him? Like, it makes me so mad because there's people out there that's really criminals and they're getting away.
For attempted murder and robbery. Because I was in high school at the time, and my mom had let me miss a couple days to go to this trial. So I went, and then the trial...
Attempted murder. Not even murder. Attempted. You don't have no proof he robbed him. You don't have no nothing. You don't have no evidence. You put the boy in jail? Who is these cops? I'll call my ancestors. Ancestors activate. Like, baby. Alright, not me getting mad.
It was supposed to be a week, and I think it went in 2 weeks.
It was 2 weeks.
And so that second week, she was like, no, you gotta go back to school. And so I would try to get out of school and go straight there if they were still in tryout. And so I would go, and while the jury was deliberating, I would go and just sit, because they'd always, the judge or the attorney was always saying it's good for the jury to see his family and support there. So it'd be a number of us sitting out there waiting. And this one day, the day before they came back with the verdict, the lady, there was 2 black ladies on there, and they were like, we would be like looking at them like, y'all, come on. And they would always, you know, smile and give us a head nod, and we just felt really confident that they were on the jury, because it was so much that you knew that they would see through it. And the one day, the older black lady came out, and she was bawling hysterically and would not look at us, but she had been looking at us every day. And like, my heart just sank, because I knew what was coming. So, of course, they give us the guilty verdict, and we're still thinking like, okay, well, now we know we got to appeal. Mm-hmm. We're going to get this appeal, flip it, he going to be out 2 years maybe.
And the crazy thing is, appeals don't work that way. Like, every time I hear people say, oh yeah, we gotta appeal. And I told you, I seen with people I knew, people I was cool with, but the most people like I would see like really go through like jail stuff, like I was really there for them, was Judas. You know what I'm saying? So Judas was one, you know, my best friend back in the day, so I held Judas down for 4 years of his bid, and then he got with his girlfriend, and you know, we kind of drifted apart. But he was the first person I really seen like how the system was, you know, plea deals, all that type of stuff, like how the system really is, because I never dealt with it. I really was naive, just like her. Like, I was really naive, you know what I'm saying? Like,
2 years turned to 5 years. We had appeal, and the appeals just did not work in our favor for a long time. Mm-hmm. And I think that people always ask me, like, how did you stay with him? For one, it was definite faith and hope, because I always hoped. I just had this faith that you were going to win an appeal, and I just hoped that it was soon, and that it wasn't going to take that long. This was before I even knew that to do an appeal, like a decent appeal, automatically takes some years, especially back then. Like, I didn't know that you have to wait and wait and wait, and you hurry up and wait, you pay and you wait, and it was so much of that. But it was just more like, I know he's innocent, and we're just gonna fight through this because it's 5 years tops. Then it was like 7 years tops, and then here we go.
Yeah.
It just kind of started.
Yeah, that was truly taking it on the chin right there when they first said that time, and then the appeal process was so crazy, because it was almost like no matter how good your case was, you were not going to win the first appeal anyway. Nobody wins the first. Like, nobody comes out the gates, files their direct appeal, and wins. And so it was like everybody gets the rejection. So we're waiting around for your rejection notice, and then you got to do it again and again. And it was funny how they would just come back and say, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right on your appeal. However, and there was always a list of reasons why they couldn't open the doors and let me go.
And most of the time, the reasons were like, we just don't want to do it. We know we should, but we're going to let another court decide that.
Or you're correct. However, you're time barred. So to be sitting in prison knowing that the merits of the case are in my favor, but time wasn't. Because
you have so much time to do an appeal on a certain thing. So if you went over that time, they could still be like, yeah, this was unconstitutional, but you're supposed to file that in 3 years and you're in 4. So,
yeah, a lot of that.
A lot of that.
We ended up digging in and doing time and a lot of it was waiting for appeals, because we never thought that we would see the end date.
Never.
Of this time. Like, that was like
26 years. I mean, we did 23 out of 26. But no, I remember being like, dang, if you did the whole time, when we calculated what good time was, I was like, I'm going to be almost 40. And that at the time, being 16, 17, there's no way that he's about to be in here till I'm 40. And that we're about to be doing this. Like, I still don't believe that. I still don't believe it, and we did it.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I think a lot happened during that time of you being away.
Well, a lot happened.
And
wait for the documentary.
Yeah, we'll get into that in the documentary or the book or both. But one of the things I think that kind of was, I think, our first.
I just love the way you can tell, like, he loves Spice a lot. Like, you can just see. Like, you know, like when, like, my kids do this, you know, and I'm not saying it's like kids, but you know when somebody is so in love with you, like, you're like their safe space, you can tell. Like, if she says something, he just looks at her, or, you know, you can tell, like, if something's getting, like, he's getting a look, you can tell by his, like, demeanor that this is a lot for him, so Spice knows when to jump in. You know, like, I you know, but honestly, even though all this did happen, you can tell, like, it made them so strong. Like, nothing can break them. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though the way it is and the way it happens, but nobody knows Spice more than her husband, and nobody knows her husband more than Spice. Even if, God forbid, they did break up, which I don't ever think they will, but if they did, no one would know them two like they do. You know what I'm saying? Like, they are, you can just see the strength in both of them. Like, you can, like, they know how to balance each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, baby, I'm like a fan of them. Yes, I am. Yeah, real love.
Kind of our first challenge. Like, when he first, once you get sentenced, they send you to Walla Walla, which at the time was like a Supermax. It was the scary place to go. Like, I mean, for me, it was terrifying. So I can't even imagine what that was like for him. But it being at Walla Walla, it was across the mountains, and they sent him in, like, what, January? Yeah. February?
Yeah.
And so it's snowing, and we didn't get to see him. He got sentenced in September?
I got sentenced in November. Like the beginning of November, and then leave for 2 months. And I actually left New Year's Eve.
Okay, yeah, that's right. After that last, you see him in, you know, county, which is a 30-minute visit every week. Then we didn't get to see him for almost a year. Over.
No, it's not 6 months.
6 to 8 months. Yeah, because the passes were bad, and we couldn't cross. And then when we did, it was a 5-hour drive over. We'd have to get a hotel, spend the night, go the next day sometimes, if they had visits 2 days in a row. It was just...
yeah, the system.
It was a lot. Me, his mom, my mom were like, we would go. When his dad would be in town, they would come take us, and we would ride over there. So our families at that time were still very supportive, and my mom was always like our biggest fan. Like, I remember people being like, why isn't your mom telling you not to be with him? I think she knew she couldn't do that. Like, you could tell me that, but I also was her daughter, and she knew what that meant. I'm gonna do it. So I don't know that she was encouraging us.
And I think your mom knew his character. You know what I'm saying? Like, my mom, like, for example, I was dating a dude. A lot of these names, I don't say their real names. But there's this dude, like, I have story times on my YouTube channel, Tasha Society, if you haven't subscribed. But his name is Motivation. And my family loved Motivation. Okay? Motivation was the man that my mom, my aunts, my uncles, everybody said I was supposed to be with. Everybody loved Motivation for me, right? Like, if Motivation, this happened to Motivation, my mom would be more supportive for him. Okay? My mom will be in every court case for more. Till this day, my mom was like, that's my son, I need Motivation. That's my son. You know, his name's not Motivation, but, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's just, I don't know. It's just like, you know when someone's bad. Like, you know, like, you can tell.
She was encouraging us, but she knew him, she loved him, and knew that I loved him and that he loved me, and was very supportive of just us being like good, having a good relationship, whether it was just friendship or if it was more than that. And so because she loved him so much, she kind of just operated on, this is my boy, I'm gonna do for my boy, come on, you can come with me kind of thing. And so me and him, like, when I tell you our friendship bond is way more than I think the love ship. Do you think so?
Yeah, that's definitely.
I mean, I love you to death, but like, you're my friend when I can't stand you. I still like you as my friend when I think you suck sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's just one-sided because I don't suck very often at all. Right.
Yeah.
He's just like, he's like, this is the setup. I'm just gonna agree. I'm just gonna agree. Oh, damn, yo, that was.
So over the 20 years, we had a lot of things happen. Mostly, I mean, we had some good things, but some of the big things that happened that kind of changed our trajectory of our relationship were not necessarily happy things.
Correct.
One of the first things that was a good thing, I guess, was when I went away to school. I went to Wazoo, and so even though I was closer to him in proximity, it was like we were still worlds apart because, like I said, this was before cell phones were really that popular, and at the time, like, you couldn't even accept prison calls on a cell phone because it would disconnect all the time. And phone calls were super expensive, especially because he was all the way over there. They were like $18 for 20 minutes. So ain't nobody talking that.
That's why I was so mad when I was holding down, what's his name, and Judas, and then he ended up being the most grimiest friend. I was like, yo, I held you down as my friend. You know that little $20 putting money on my phone? That could have gave me food. Okay? That could have bought me food. Okay? Baby. I'm still on that. Yo, those jail calls ain't cheap, baby. At all. I want my money back. I wonder if I still got money on there. I wonder.
For 20 minutes. So ain't nobody talking that crazy. So that 2 years of me over there was really a transition. When I'd come home on breaks, I would go visit him a lot or try to visit him as much as I could. But that first year was really hard.
Yeah. All I saw was the top of the walls, because that's all you can see Walla Walla. The top of the walls and the top of a tree. And that was my world. And I knew you was in college.
Yeah.
And I write you all the time and try to stay in touch with you, but I mean a lot of letters. But
I was in college.
But yeah, she was in college and she was enjoying life and everything. And I wanted her to, but I didn't know how to want her to. You know what I mean? You know, it's just like you're in this situation and your woman's over there, and it's like, not that I like had any doubts about her or her conduct or anything like that. It's almost like a selfish part of you that wants to have fun too. I mean, I ain't having fun.
Right.
And it's like, I'm over here doing this. And yeah, that was hard.
I mean, I think too, like, one thing that he's never had to worry about with me, and that's because I was such a church girl. Like, I was a church girl, so I was not entertaining nobody that I was not supposed to be entertaining, and I wish they would, and they would, but I'd be like, nope, got my man, and that's what we doing. So
they
we
heard about me over there too. They knew about me.
They did. Actually, they knew some, but I know a lot of people, even to this day, people thought I made you up. They was like, she ain't got no man. She knows she ain't got no man. She talk about this dude. Ain't nobody ever seen him. I never see her on the phone. Like, girls would literally be like, okay, sure you do. And I was like, I do.
Well, guess what, y'all? She got a man.
Yeah.
She got a man.
So that was kind of our first big obstacle. And then, unexpectedly, that was my first year at Wazoo. So I went to Wazoo in September, or I'm sorry, August. And by March, my mom passed away. Very unexpectedly. I mean, that was significant in so many ways. I mean, of course, I lost my mother, but...
Not me crying, child. It's because I personally know her, so it's like I get affected a little bit more. I am a crybaby, if you guys do not know. If I really care for you, JB, I go through the emotions with you. That's why my friends don't like me, because I really care for you. You know what I'm saying? I go through the hurt with you. Man, that one. It's like I watched it before, but maybe because I'm really paying attention and getting all the details and listening. Because it's different when you're just listening and walking around and really listening. Baby, I need you guys to subscribe to her and just listen to the story. I know he's not really a social media person. I get it. Because that's trauma too. You know, you went through all that. Now you got to explain to the world that what you went through. And I wish them nothing but the best. And I know, I know, like, you can just look at him and you can tell, like, damn. And the person said he didn't do it. Like, how did you arrest this person? You know, But please check out Spice. Please. Please, please, please. She has so much greater good. I believe in God that everything good's going to happen for her and her husband. Sometimes God has to put you in a space to eliminate you. And maybe God was protecting him. We just don't know, you know? But I really believe that God has a greater plan for both of them. I already know, like, so much good is going to come for him. And you can tell he's a great person, you know? I wish them nothing but the best, baby. But baby, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.